For this video I've just come to Mere Knolls Cemetery again. I'm just going to have a look at a couple of headstones in a pretty much relatively small area, and I'm stood in quite close to the two chapels. This is probably the most interesting area around these chapels because it's got a lot of the old ones like there from when it opened. I think it was 1856 up to even the early 1920s. I just want to show you a couple of headstones before I go to the main reason for the visit. Look at that fine headstone. I don't know if that symbolises pulling down the curtain on life. It's a fine memorial. This gentleman, in memory of Joseph Haswell of Roker, who died August the 18th, 1880, aged 94 years. So, good age. Good thing about these old headstones is that they tell you so much, whereas ones today, it's normally loving father, grandfather, etc. That's a sad one. That is for Ernest Brazil, who was drowned at Roker whilst bathing August the 27th, 1899, aged 23 years. That was such a sad common occurrence, bathing fatalities down by Roker along Seaburn. There's quite a few obviously over here because this cemetery was built to cover most of Monk Wearmouth, Fulwell, Roker. I've said before, if you can imagine 1856 when this opened, how far away we were from Monk Wearmouth. You were out in the country. Now, this one is this fine Celtic cross, but the most interesting thing is the bottom of it, and it's to Isabella Blackett, the friend of the people of St. Peter's, Monk Wearmouth, sleep in Christ, November the 12th, 1899. Now, I never ever got to the bottom of how she was a friend of the people, but it's a lovely epitaph. Now, I did look into her husband. He was a distant relation of William Blackett of their retail stores business. Most of the Sunderland Blacketts come from a gentleman who was from over Houghton. And this one, I like this one because I have ancestors called Fothergill. This is John Fothergill Rutherford, who died March the 20th, 1872. John Fothergill Rutherford. It's a good Westmoreland name, is Fothergill. And the epitaph is: brief life is here, our portion, brief sorrow, short-lived care. The life that knows no ending, the tearless life is there. Then it's rubbed out. Now, from memory, he got married on Christmas Day and he was baptised on Christmas Day. That's John Fothergill. Richard. Now, look at the lovely lettering on this. This is an old one. I think that died 1859. Look at that. Eleanor, the beloved wife of Anthony Robson, innkeeper of Monk Wearmouth. Huge stone. And the lettering, as you can see there, look at that, innkeeper. Excellently done. This one over here is something a little back into the 20th century. This is the tragedy for the Waiter family. Look at this: Robert Waiter, master mariner, dearly beloved husband of Barbara, who died from the effects of the war, January the 16th, 1919, aged 53 years. Now, sadly, in 1916, on June the 25th, their 21-year-old son George, who was a sergeant major in the 7th DLI, he was killed in action. And later that same year, Robert, a private in the 20th DLI, was killed in action, November the 22nd, 1916. So, she lost two sons in the same year during the Great War, and then her husband died from the effects of that. I love it when you see the old occupations. George Graydon, sailmaker. quite overgrown at the moment. Has that wild look. You don't see many of these left, these iron vaulted areas. A lot of it was taken down for the war effort, but some people would have like a burial plot for the family and put these metal railings around it to separate it from other graves, and you could bury your family in there. As you said, look, it's quite tricky to walk about in here. Look, another typical tragedy. William, who was accidentally killed at Monk Wearmouth Drops, 1905, aged 25 years. The cemetery is full of drownings, accidents in shipyards, accidents on the river, Monk Wearmouth pit. Now this beautiful little monument is for Georgie. Now this boy, that was his nickname, he was George. That was his nickname of his beloved parents, Georgie. Now his father was a famous Sunderland footballer called George Holly. If you go on Google, you'll find all his figures. I think he was the third or fourth top scorer for Sunderland in its history. He played for England, had a great strike record for England, and he actually lived next to Roker Park, so different world back then. There is another headstone I wanted to do as part of like the main part of this visit, but I can't find it. That's the one thing with Mere Knolls, it's hard to remember where everything is because it's just so overgrown. A lot of this will die off in the next few months and weeks. But oh, there's one of the headstones we'll have to look at. I'm going to go on the path so it's quicker. This is just to show the work of Edwin Smith, one of Sunderland's finest memorial masons. He was a mosaicist, letterist. Chris Howson is an expert on this gentleman, and Chris and a few others raised money to restore this a couple of years ago. Look at that, the mosaic work he's done on that. That was Mary, daughter of the late William Graham of Abbeytown, Cumberland. Born 18th of December 1866, died 16th of March 1919. And that epitaph, bold, cautious, true and a loving comrade, is, I think it's one of the mottos of like the suffragette movement. And she died, I believe, down at Roker, one of the houses near where the Roker Hotel is. The one I'm after is just over here. I'll tell a little bit more detail about this one. If I can find it. I've just come from it actually. It's this one. I'll read it out in a moment, but I'm not too sure if this was actually a lot larger and this is just the top of it. But this is sacred to the memory of Bridget Byers, who died June the 7th, 1860, being her birthday, aged 19 years. So her parents, when they created this headstone, wanted anybody to read it to know that their beloved daughter, Bridget, had died on her birthday. She was 19 years old. Now sadly, her mother, Ellen Byers, mother of the above, she died August that same year. So her father, who was Thomas Byers Esquire, had lost his daughter and his wife within the space of 7 or 8 weeks. Thomas was a block maker down at Dock Street at Mount Wearmouth. He was an Esquire, and Ellen was from Northumberland, and I believe they married in Eglingham. And he actually wasn't just a block maker; he was like a worker. He actually owned the business, and I think it was 1851. He employed five men at his place of works. Let's go have a walk to some of the older bits, see if there's anything catches my eye. If you ever do come here, wear some old clothes and watch you don't trip up, because there is lots of stones falling down, and it's all the grass and the grass is all over the place. There, Master Mariner. Nearly tripped over there. This is another old section. Oh, he's found the one that was after in the first place. But we'll just have a look at this one. Look at that fine memorial for Elizabeth Burdess, wife of William Burdess of Mount Wearmouth, 1857, aged 41 years. That's a fine memorial. This one over here is for Emily Louisa Ditchburn, the dearly beloved daughter of D.W. and L.M. Ditchburn. Her father, D.W., you'd probably never guess what his initials stood for. It was Dent Waterloo Ditchburn, because he was born a couple of months after the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. He was the son of a policeman from Low Street down in the East End, and he ended up doing loads of jobs. And Emily died at Wearmouth Colliery because her father was the cashier and lived at Office Row. That same year he'd been declared bankrupt, but he'd worked for various different types of jobs in different industries. Emily was, I remember, she was born in Kellow, so she was only 15 years old from memory. And her epitaph is "Blessed are the dead which die in the Lord," which is a common staple of Victorian tombstones. But Dent, he ended up moving to Huddersfield. He died there about 1877. Master Mariner. Look at that In loving memory of Edward James Watson, engineer, the beloved husband of Ad Watson, who was drowned at Odessa, which is on the Black Sea. I always mention that. The amount of men and women who never came home, lost at sea, drowned at sea, accidents, died of fevers in foreign lands. There's thousands of Sunderland men and women who tragically died like that. There's another one of the fine ones of that lettering. Look at that. That's John Coxon, who departed this life January the 2nd, 1857, aged 25 years. He lived respected and died lamented. But his wife is mentioned, also mentioned an Eleanor Coxon, wife of the late William Coxon, who died June the 6th, 1875, aged 73 years. Also 5 of their children who lies in Monk Wearmouth churchyard. That's St Peter's. So possibly Eleanor is the mother of John, looking at those ages. So that's enough for today from here. I'm going to try and get out without tripping over and stuff. So thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy it, then please give it a like and click on the subscribe button to get an update of any future ones that will be coming out shortly. So thank you very much for watching.